The horror genre has seen an apparent re-emergence last year, and that impetus seems to spill over in 2023 with the release of M3GAN to start off what is sure to be another terrific year for horror films.
You should probably run.
The movie managed to create a lot of buzz. A lot of people are looking forward to watching this movie, and I think it's primarily due to a cleverly put together trailer to maximize the dance craze, TikToks, and overall memorability of the film. Props to the marketing team who was able to pull that off. But first, thank you for clicking this video and welcome to the far side. This is my review of M3GAN, or technically M3GAN as she's otherwise known. This is a spoiler-free review, so feel free to watch this video even if you haven't watched the movie. I'm not gonna go into details. Let's get into this. Let's go. M3GAN tells the story of Cady, here played by actress Violet Mcgraw, who after losing both her parents in a tragic car accident is adopted by her aunt, herself a robotics engineer at a mega toy corporation. Her Aunt Gemma, played by Allison Williams, gives her an android AI doll in the hopes of helping her cope with the loss of both her parents, and incidentally as a test subject / marketing gimmick for her be-all end-all toy of the century. This seemingly kid-friendly bit of code goes awry when M3GAN begins to learn and adapt beyond her rudimentary programming. Written by Malignant's Akela and directed by Gerard Johnstone, James Wan delivers another addition to his list of horror flicks, this time giving a new take on the killer doll subgenre that he no doubt helped usher in the past years with the likes of Annabelle and Billy the Ventriloquist doll. Instead of the usual trope of a dark spirit possessing toys, this time around they're going towards the AI, artificial intelligence side of the spectrum and showcases the dark side of it. This isn't exactly new. Simple animatronic robots evolving through self-learning processes have been explored before in movies, none more profoundly than in 1986's Short Circuit. Okay, so it isn't a one-on-one comparison, but disregard the horror movie shell for a second and indulge my hypothetical scenario here. At its core, M3GAN is an evolved sentient piece of AI technology who has formed an attachment to a human who's the only one who understands the full extent of its evolution. Even rogue AIs, from simple coding to genocidal world-ending threats, are not new. It's been explored multiple times with the likes of Terminator's Skynet, so the playing field available to M3GAN is pretty huge. But it kind of settled over a vague exploration of the repercussions of unmitigated scientific advancement and how ethics should kind of be a part of that equation. But it glosses over that in favor of the killer robot thing. At the end of the day, this is a horror movie and all of that other stuff kind of gets pushed aside.
What's going on? What are you?
I'm M3GAN.
Baby,
This movie focuses on the premise of misinterpretation of the Prime Directive caused by the lack of controls and ethical or moral constraints resulting from Gemma's desire to push forward with her project instead of taking time to go through mandatory testing phases. Simply put, M3GAN becomes overprotective and deals with everything that she perceives as a threat, no matter the cost.
I won't let anything harm you.
The movie was able to explain her functions and how she was actually built with what I can only describe as basically a commercial. But it kind of has an unintended effect on the movie, because aside from degenerating to another generic, jump scare, campy kind of horror flick, the film loses that atmosphere of horror from the unknown. There's something inherently scary about the supernatural and is palpably lacking here. It might lack that scare factor, but M3GAN embraces the campiness and comedic elements in its narrative very effectively. Yes, it has that basic structure of a horror movie, but there's an odd entertaining factor to be had with a life-size dog going on a rampage. The studio clearly wanted a wider appeal for the movie. They wanted to market to younger audiences, obviously, so they decided to reshoot some of the scenes to dial down on the violence. When she's taking care of annoying neighbors or ripping a kid's ear off, you can definitely tell how some of the scenes were dialed down as the camera cuts right before we actually see any potentially violent scenes. Unfortunately, all the time M3GAN's going around doing crazy stuff is where the movie is at its most interesting. But with the PG rating and the apparent attempt to circumvent these situations took away the effectiveness of these moments. I know it's probably a decision by the studio, but despite these restrictions imposed on his movie, Johnstone was actually able to pull it off. But talking a little bit about the characters now, Violet Mcgraw gives a believable performance as a traumatized young orphan Cady who attaches herself to M3GAN's artificial support system to create a toxic symbiosis, which in turn distances herself from a real relationship relationship with her aunt. Intern Allison Williams, who plays Gemma, didn't quite get highlighted as much as she should. The proverbial mother of M3GAN, who actually wrote the code and invented M3GAN, is written as vaguely as necessary in the script, coming off as secondary to both Cady and M3GAN. Her flawed character, oblivious to her surroundings due to the apparent success of her creation, playing off of M3GAN's increasingly adapting intelligence, should have been the central theme and could have elevated the film to another level, i.e. human ingenuity versus an evil artificial intelligence. We could have delved more into her motivations. I doubt that a scientific breakthrough of this magnitude could have stopped at a toy doll, but I guess I expected a little more from that aspect of the film. At the very least, we got a serviceable aunt-turned-mom dynamic with her niece front and center. She's a career-driven young woman and wants nothing to do with motherhood, but her shining moments actually come from her realizing she has latent maternal instincts. At the worst of times, she's just a painfully dense damsel that couldn't even fix her own mistakes. Most of the supporting casts are fine. I particularly enjoyed the comically excessive mean CEO of the toy company, David, played by Ronnie Chang. However, the star of the film, and rightfully so, is M3GAN. Props to her body actor Amy Donald. Her portrayal was excellent, doing her creepy dance, and the movements are on point, loving and supporting when acting beside Cady, and as crazy as she needs to be during all the wipeout scenes part of the movie. Mix this with excellent voice acting by Jenna Davis and you've got yourself a certifiable franchise icon. I'm sure people will love her and this movie with the absolute crazy moments in it. To the film's credit, it could have been a disappointing outcome. As it stands, this movie does deliver on some aspects of what it promised during the marketing, but it might have put too high of a bar on itself. Most of the craziest scenes in the movie were already spoiled in the trailer. If you thought that was a teaser on what's in store in the movie, you might be disappointed. That PG-13 rating really took a toll on the potential of M3GAN just going batshit crazy. Without that constriction, it's just as easy as pulling a Carrie at prom during the M3GAN unveiling event to ramp up the ante, and we see M3GAN as a force to be reckoned with. But I was really surprised that this movie was entertaining as hell, and I was fully immersed in a campy comedy sort of thriller while watching it. But in my opinion, it doesn't quite live up to its full potential. It could have been a dark horse hit of the year, but what we have still has the right amount of camp and crazy to keep audiences happy, and more importantly invested in the story of M3GAN, who has more than enough viability for further sequels down the road. At the very least, this has a fair chance to do well in the box office, and based on the current numbers, it already has. I'm not quite as invested in it as I hoped based on what I expected from the marketing. Nonetheless, I had great fun watching this movie, and I can definitely recommend it, especially if you want an awesome movie experience. But how about you guys? Have you had the chance to watch this movie yet? Are you gonna make time to watch it? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this review. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more. It will really help the channel out. Take care out there and see you on the next one.